Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're getting back into Peak. We're getting back into Peak finally. I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I wanted to do some other things, and you know, people have commented on the other videos, and I wanted to get those out. But anyway, Nezumie's First Love, Volume 3. Ooh, I finished reading it already. Let me tell you about this. This volume gets intense. Intense, I'm telling you. It's very fast-paced. There's like close to like zero breaks. There's maybe like a few intermissions here with like maybe like a backstory and like some other things that I will not be getting into. So lock in, because this is going to be very, very fast paced. I'm telling you, like these chapters are literally like 20 to like 15 pages long. So by the way, if you haven't seen the first two videos, those will be linked in the description down below. Go watch those videos before coming to this video, because you're gonna want to know everything that happens to lead up to this point. With that being said, let's go. We start off chapter 17 with Ao still tied down to a chair and still inside of the pool with the rain pouring down on him. He's in a lot of pain and he's cold and hungry, he says. He thinks to himself that Nezumie is probably worried about him. He then reminisces about the last time that he saw her face and says, I've got to get home. A guy from the top of the pool then yells down at him. This guy is named Shigusa, and he asks Ao if he can hear him. And then he tells him, we're done, so we're gonna kill you now. Ao says, what? But Shigusa doesn't hear him, so he's like, whatever, and sends Messiah, who... sorry, and sends Messiah with a chainsaw to kill him. Ao watches as Messiah slowly walks towards him and he tugs on his restraints. But obviously, that does not help anything. Messiah is now toe-to-toe with Ao and raises the chainsaw. She then comes down on him with the chainsaw, but Ao manages to move the chair and dodge the chainsaw just enough for his arm to get scratched. He tells her to wait, but she just yawns. Ao manages to get on his feet and then runs away, but Messiah begins to smile. She chases after him and hits him in the back deep with the chainsaw. He yells, but he musters through the pain and tries to climb the ladder. But when he gets up to the top, Shigusa steps on his face and says, you're doing great out there. Why not play a little longer? And kicks him back down. Messiah then grabs him by the hair and puts the chainsaw right by his neck while it's still on. Ao tells her time out and says, you remember me, right? She turns off the chainsaw and Ao tries to convince her to let him go, saying, couldn't you just let me go? I let you go after all, you know, just this once. No. Actually, if I recall, the reason why you're in this situation is because you let her go. So no, Ao, I'm sorry, but this is your fault. This is all your fault. She then puts the chainsaw closer to his neck, and he says, okay, I get it, but I can't die yet. He sees Nezumie again and thinks about cupped ramen. He says he's hungry, and Messiah looks down and looks a little empathetic, kind of. She then looks at his stomach and sees that it's growling, and she turns off the chainsaw. She now seems a little frustrated and goes to get him a wet-ass burger, like very wet burger. I don't know why you're gonna eat a burger in the rain. That's just weird. Have you ever ate like food in the shower and like it gets wet? Am I the only one? I'm probably the only one. It's not pleasant. Not at all. It's not good. She puts the wet burger in his face and says, eat and then I'll kill you. A guy at the top is confused. Three guys come running to tell Chigusa that there is a problem. A guy named Omari is dead. We then see the guy's dead body, and then we see Messiah in front of Ao, still holding the burger up to his face. And that is the end of chapter 17. Chapter 18, Miracle. Chapter 18 starts off with Chigusa and some of the other guys standing over the dead body. They check his pulse and clearly see that he's not coming back from anything. A guy says, another gang must have done this, right? Then Chigusa commands a guy named Nezumie to go check the cameras. Nezumie tells some other guys to look around. Not even a mouse gets out. Chigusa then looks at the dead body. Then Nezumie asked him what was with Messiah back there. Messiah hates the sound of thunder, and a rumbling stomach reminds her of it, I guess. I'm just gonna say this right now. After reading the entire volume, I think that's BS. There's something deeper going on with like Messiah and Shigusa. It just feels a little weird between those two, and you'll figure out what I'm talking about later in the volume, but it feels a little weird. We now cut back to Messiah and Ao still in the pool. Messiah is still holding that wet burger in front of his face. Ao decides to take advantage of this small privilege and asks for an umbrella because it's hard to eat in the rain. I don't blame him. Again, I don't know who would want to eat a wet burger in the rain. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Actually, let's try that out right now. Okay, so I wanted to do a bit here. about where, you know, I grab like some type of food item and I wet it and then eat it on camera. But I don't have snacks, so I can't. And what makes it funny enough is that I literally had a burger from a restaurant the night before and I ate it. So yeah, I couldn't wet the burger and do the bit. It was a good burger though, I ain't gonna lie. I'm glad I didn't do it. Okay, back to the video. Messiah then smashes the burger into his face and says, "You're about to die, so eat up." She keeps smearing the wet burger in his face, and Ao tells her, "I'll eat once the rain stops." And by some miracle, I don't know what that was. And by some miracle, the rain then stops. They then show a large panel of the sun beaming down on them. Ao is looking up as if he's seeing God. In his case, probably the devil, because, you know, he'll eat as soon as the rain stops. You get what I'm talking about. But then the rain slowly comes back, and Messiah begins to laugh, while Ao just feels relieved. We cut to his security office while Nezumie is watching the cameras. He finds the camera that he needs to and goes back to see the footage. While he's watching, he's drinking a bottle of water and then puts the bottle of water down. He says, "Who is she?" while Nezumie is in the reflection of the water bottle. It's safe to say that he's not coming back either. And that's the end of chapter 18. Chapter 19. Encounter. Chapter 19 starts off with us being thrown back into the past. Shigusa and Omari are around an apartment building looking for a guy named Ayajima. Shigusa asks if the guy had kids while he's holding up a card with a husband and wife holding a child. Shigusa then starts laughing. Omari asks what's so funny. Then he explains to Shigusa that the guy ran off with the money from the clan and his wife, and we're here to kill him. Shigusa then gets up and walks into a hallway and comes across a door that's tied together. He kicks down the door and the room smells absolutely terrible. His face is then shocked by what he sees. There, in the tub, there is a messy girl with black hair and her body seems extremely malnourished. They ask who could do something so cruel. The person, who's clearly Messiah, holds up a middle finger and tells them, "Yo, get out before I kill you." We see Shigusa's face and then we see a toothbrush on the ground. Shigusa and the gang of guys walk inside the building. They call out to Nezumie, but there's no response. One of the men says that he's going to check upstairs, so he goes. Shigusa is looking at a statue while the other guys fool around a bit. Then a body starts to fall from the stairway. The guy that went upstairs is now dead. Someone is coming downstairs. Shigusa watches as it's none other than Nezumie herself. The guys are confused on who she is. Nezumie then raises her hand and points at everyone there, counting everyone in the room. The guys then charge at her. I'm sorry, the amount of the amount of aura inside of this scene it's just like, oh my gosh. Her coming down the stairs and her just sitting there pointing out 12 guys with the most innocent face. I'm sorry. When I was reading this, I was literally in my chair like this. I'm telling you, when I was reading it, like it was so cool. It was so cool. Like I don't know how to put it into words, but oh my gosh, it has me stuttering now. It's such a cool scene. It's such a cool scene. And there's so many scenes like that in this volume. Anyway, that's the end of chapter 19. How are you going to end a chapter off like that? The most badass way you end a chapter off like that. That is insane. Chapter 20. God. Hold on, wait. Let me get into this again. After all that, what we just seen, and you see a chapter named God? That's so badass. That is badass as hell. This chapter starts off with, to be fair, I really have zero clue what I was looking at here, but a guy ends up getting stabbed in the neck. Then the men look at her in fear and are even scared to even attack her. Some guys come up with the idea to go upstairs and grab some guns. One of the guys then decide to make an opening. They hesitate because they're obviously terrified at this moment, seeing a bunch of their men being stabbed to death by some random woman that they do not know. But they go up anyway and end up getting the wrists slit open. And then they have the audacity of giving us a nice full page of her face while she twists. That is insane. More guys fall from the stairs and lands on the ground, and some guy says, God, please. I don't think he's there. You know, the only God up there is Nezumie at the moment because she has control of everything. She is not letting anything out. Okay, sorry for interrupting so much, but I did not realize. But in this scene, we're actually in a POV of one of the gangsters, and he's witnessing all this happen. I didn't realize that till now, but I think that makes this part even better. Meaning, this is the last thing that he sees before he falls down the stairs as he bleeds out. Holy. That makes this scene make a lot more sense, because when I was reading it, I was kind of confused with what was happening. But I'm very glad that I caught it this time, because it just makes so much more sense. That's the thing, right? Especially with these videos. When I'm editing them, when I'm initially reading them, I don't realize a lot of things. But when I go back in and I start editing the videos, I see certain things. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty common thing, but I personally have never seen it before. Shigusa then looks down at the dead bodies around him, and with a face that seems to be completely unfazed. While the other men are panicked, one of them yell to shoot her, but all the guns are upstairs and Messiah cannot get them. Shigusa then walks off and says that he's going to get Messiah. End of chapter 20. Chapter 21 opens up with Nezumie killing the last guy, and we see that the stairway and the room in general is just a complete mess full of dead bodies. The only thing that's not covered in blood is the statue that Shigusa was looking at. Then Nezumie looks down to see the soccer ball on the ground, and then looks at the sliding door and sees the kid that she killed in the reflection. We then cut back to Shigusa and another guy are outside, and we also see that Messiah is choking the heck out of Ao with a large smile on her face. Messiah, there is an emergency. We need you up here right now. Quit screwing around and just use the chainsaw already, Shigusa says. Ao is clearly struggling. He can't breathe at all, while Messiah smiles over him. She says, I decided I'm going to save this one myself. I finally get it. I can't just get there if I want to be saved. It's kind of funny, like her name is Messiah, and this whole thing about her is, you know, about being saved. The other guy tells Messiah to quit it and questions what she's even talking about in the first place. He even tells her, we've got a real crisis on our hands. But she doesn't move, and then Shigusa smiles very awkwardly and tells her, when this is all over with, I'll take you somewhere nice to eat. What would you like? Sushi? Or even barbecue, maybe Chinese. You can have whatever you want. How about it, Messiah? I want that offer right now so bad. I'm hungry, okay? We'll do whatever makes you happy, okay? So come on, will you? Messiah's smile is now gone, and Ao is still struggling to breathe. Shigusa calls out her name, but she says, shut up. Goddamn jerks are all the same. And then she does the unthinkable. She kisses Nezumie on... She kisses Ao on the mouth while still choking the man and crushing his arm with her foot. We see Shigusa is shocked, and then we see that Nezumie has killed the other guy right next to Shigusa, and Messiah side-eyes her and keeps kissing him. Nezumie sees Ao in tears and then drops the body, and she says, what? Messiah did that shit on purpose. She did that on purpose. She knew what she was doing. That's dead wrong. That is so wrong. End of chapter 21. Chapter 22, Savior. Chapter 22 starts off with the dream world that Messiah is in, and then a whale appears behind her and says, sup. Messiah says, who are you? The whale tells her, hello, this is the Garden of Eden, an afterlife reserved for those who die a noble death. A place for children like you, Messiah, to find salvation. So am I dead, Messiah says, while she rides the whale. The whale tells her to relax. Messiah looks around her and sees animals happy and cheery all around her. The whale then says, this place has nothing that can hurt you. All you will find here is eternal happiness. She's now surrounded by happy creatures and gives off a large smile. But things switch, and then the whale tells her, sorry, but you're here a little early. We then cut back to her in the dirty tub when Shigusa first found her. The whale looks pale and is now a little shriveled up like it's dying. But it tells her, don't worry, you'll be brought here again. Your time will come, I promise. Be good till then. We're now back at the pool, and Nezumie jumps down, and Messiah gets up, grabs her chainsaw. They walk towards each other and meet eye to eye. Messiah attacks her with the chainsaw, and Nezumie manages to wrap her leg around Messiah and launches her out of the pool, crashing her through a window. What type of superhuman stuff is this? I thought this was meant to be grounded. That's not grounded. Ao then gets up and is now coughing. Then Nezumie gives him her clothes and simply says, you'll catch a cold. Ao questions it. It's fine. put this on and get somewhere safe. I have some business to take care of. She then walks off. We then cut back to Messiah on the ground inside of the building, and she has a wound on her waist. She looks at it and then thinks of the whale telling her that her time will come. She smiles and covers the wound with her hand and says, no way. Nezumie grabs a knife from the dead guy's body and meets Messiah at the window. They walk right beside each other. Messiah starts to chainsaw and she smiles at Nezumie. Nezumie grips the knife. She says, hey, but then they meet at the door before she can say anything. They then attack one another, and that's how chapter 22 ends. Chapter 23. Hey, chapter 23 starts off with Ao walking into the building and sees the mess that Nezumie has made with all the dead bodies there. Then the next page is this fire shot of Nezumie dodging Messiah's chainsaw like it's nothing. Like she's literally just like oh, this shot was so cool. I even made it my lock screen on my laptop. I kid you not. Here's a photo. It was so cool. Nezumie then falls back to a window behind her. Messiah then jumps and slams her further into the window, making it crack. She goes to lift up her chainsaw to slash Nezumie, but Nezumie catches the chainsaw mid-air while Messiah's foot is pushing her down and brings the chainsaw to the window, making it shatter. She says back at you as the chainsaw cuts through the window, shattering the window. Both of them are now falling and the chainsaw falls outside of Messiah's hand and they both slam onto the ground with Nezumie right above her, with the knife over her neck. Messiah looks up. She sees the whale in the sky. Nezumie says, hey, her face looks very serious. Earlier, were you kissing him? Messiah looks at her, sticks her tongue out while smiling. So Nezumie goes to stab her, but Messiah headbutts her in the face and snaps her broken wrist back into place. Then grabs the knife. Now she's over Nezumie and spits on her face while Nezumie's face is completely bruised and bloody from that headbutt. She then tries to stab her, but Nezumie catches the knife before it can get further into her neck. Nezumie then screams, you can't. I won't let you. His kiss is just for me. And that is the end of chapter, I forgot what chapter this was. Chapter 23. Woo! This is so intense. This is intense. I love it. It's very hard for me to put into words like my feelings on how I was feeling at this very moment. But all I'm gonna say this right now is do not mess with Nezumie's man. That's all I'm getting from this. Do not mess with Nezumie's man because you will pay for it. I'm telling you. This is so much. It's so much happening right now. I love it. Chapter 24. Cheer up. Chapter 24 starts off with Shigusa in a room, huddled up in a corner, and then Messiah gets thrown through the window again, and then she gets up to walk towards the fridge to get something to eat. The fridge has a bunch of food in it, and all of it has her name on it. She then slouches on the floor right beside Shigusa, and he looks a little scared. Messiah says, she's close, and I'm hungry. I'm a little confused here. Why does he look scared? Like, I thought you were the boss. Why in the world, like you're looking at her like you're scared of her? Don't get me wrong, she's crazy. I mean, I'd be scared too. You know, I thought you were tougher than that. You know, all I'm getting from this is that you're, excuse my language, it looks like he's a bitch. Like, that's what I'm getting from this. Shigusa says her name, and then Messiah is now smiling and gets up, and now he looks a little terrified. Messiah tells him to stay out of it, and she grabs a knife. If you try to stop me, you're dead. And then he plants his head back into his legs. We then cut back to Ao outside, trying to escape, but three guys come. They're wondering where Shigusa is. They then see Ao, and then they begin to pull out knives. But before they do anything, Ao gets a bunch of blood splashed into his face because Nezumie comes out of nowhere and kills all three of the guys. They stand in front of each other, and Ao says, your face. Are you okay? Nezumie seems to blush a little bit and tries to hide her face and says, see you in a bit. And then she walks off. She walks into the building and then Messiah tries to sneak attack her coming from the balcony, but Nezumie manages to dodge it and then they both manage to land on two guys' face. They look at each other and then begin to go back at it. Nezumie grabs and then punches Messiah, but Messiah ends up dodging it and catching her arm as Nezumie comes in with her left arm and stabs her in the neck, sending her flying back onto the ground. Messiah looks up and then sees the whale and smiles. Nezumie then walks out to see that Shigusa is holding Ao with a gun to his neck. Nezumie, back away from Messiah now, Shigusa says. This scary behind man. You're telling me you're gonna shoot him? Dog, I don't believe that. End of chapter 24. Chapter 25. The fourth target. Drop the knife or he's dead. You think I'm kidding? I mean, you came here to save him, right? This guy is very confusing. I honestly can't really tell if he's crying or if he's serious, or, I can't really tell what's going on with this man right now. Because on one hand, in the beginning, he was super serious. Even even at the end of the last volume, he was super serious, and I thought he was the boss. We see Nezumi is surprised. Masaya is just looking up at the sky, and Ao says, "Don't worry about me, Nezumi." Shigusa's finger then tightens the grip on the trigger and says, "Didn't you hear me? Drop the knife." Ao says, "It's okay, Nezumi. You don't need to." Ao, I'm going to need you to shut up. Shut up, please. You're not helping the situation here. Not even close. Just be quiet. You haven't done anything the entire volume other than just be kidnapped and get kidnapped again. How do you get kidnapped twice? But she ends up dropping the knife anyway and looks at Ao and tells him, "Don't ever kiss another girl, okay?" She begins to cry and then she starts to sob. We see that Shigusa looks a little uncomfortable and then calls over to Masaya and asks her if she can stay just for a little bit longer. The whale is now disappearing into the clouds and she looks a little disappointed. She then gets up and Shigusa says, "There you go, good girl, Masaya. We'll eat something nice and tasty after you kill her." Masaya then Nezumi and then look at each other and she draws her knife. Shigusa is in the background saying, "Kill her." Ao watches as Masaya gets closer and closer to Nezumi, and then everything seems to slow down for a second. Ao manages to break free from Shigusa and runs towards Masaya. Shigusa then points his gun. Then everything goes black for a bit. 1. He grabs her from the neck behind. 2. He holds her. 3. Takes the finishing blow, stabbing her in the neck. The exact trick that Nezumi ends up teaching him throughout the second volume. He manages to do it here. I love how everything just comes full circle. It's so nice. But we see that Shigusa has fired the gun. Then Ao and Masaya go down. Ao looks at Masaya, the fourth target, and says, "I'm sorry." Shigusa then looks at Masaya's dead body on the ground and he gets on his knees. And their lips get a little close, but Nezumi stabs him in the back of the head through his eye patch. She checks on Ao, but we see that he's managed to be shot. She covers up the wound, and we see that Ao is on the ground, barely being able to say her name. And that is the end of Nezumi's First Love, Volume 3. Gosh. Oh, God. I have so much. This is so good. Okay. This manga has no reason being this good. It's funny because I originally went into this manga thinking that this was gonna be some crazy messed up story. So far, it doesn't seem to be as messed up as I thought it was gonna be. Like, obviously, there are some messed up parts, stuff with like, spoilers. If you haven't seen the other videos, by the way, go watch them. Like how Nezumi managed to be the person to kill Ao's sister, and Nezumi's whole backstory, and then we get what's going on with like Masaya here. I'm very curious about all that situation as well, because on the postcard, it looked like that Masaya had a very loving family, but for some reason she was locked into that room and something happened between all of that. And I'm very curious to know what the heck is going on with Shigusa and Masaya as well. Because why in the world were their lips this close? I'm pretty sure he was trying to like give her mouth to mouth, like that. But I'm not really too sure about that, really. You know, I hope that's the situation. I hope that's the case, because if that's not the case, that's very weird. I told you this was going to be extremely action-packed. It was very fast. I swear. Like, me recording this, I swear it barely feels like that I've been recording for like an hour. Okay? It it just it just hits it right there. It's so good. It is so good, and I love it. That's all I can say. Volume 4 is coming out sometime later in June. It's June right now, so honestly, depending on how things go, I might get this video out by then. I really hope not, because I really want to get this video out fast. School and everything has been catching up and all that, so I'm not able to get these videos out as fast as I want to. Oh, before I want to mention this. I didn't show all of them because I didn't know how to fit them into like the thing, and anyway, I didn't show all of them, but all of these full book panels here are fire. There's like 5 or 6 of them, I think, but they're so cool. And the art style, I don't talk about the art style enough. The art style in this is really good. at some points it looks a little questionable, but just like the entirety of the manga looks completely beautiful, and I love it. A lot of time and a lot of effort has been put into this, and what else can I say? I mean, this is a sleeping gem. It's the definition of a diamond in a rough, okay? Because I did not know this manga existed until I saw it be posted on Instagram by Zombie Makeup Club, which is the whole reason why I'm even reading this. You know, I have one of his shirts. He makes good shirts. Anyway, with that being said, like and subscribe. And yeah, Nezumi, don't mess with her man, okay? Goodbye.